How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Age to age he stands, and time is in his hands. Beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three in one. He's the Father, Spirit, Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb.
In a marriage relationship, never abuse the trust that your wife has given to you or even your husband has given to you. The moment you abuse the trust, it's very difficult, to patch back that broken, the cracked relationship.
Adapt means you're going to learn to adapt to something new. Adopt, you're going to learn to adopt and make it yours personally. And adjust, you're going to learn or need to learn to bring that change into your own lifestyle.
So using machine learning or AI, today the AI able to actually read through and memorize and decipher the entire sets of records from the very beginning of time of these particular patients.
When talking to the person and apologize if you are the cause of the hurt or the pain, apologize and ask for forgiveness, right? And be willing to change.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God.
Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Family First Money webinar. Thank you for showing up on time tonight, and my name is Matthew T. Tonight, I will be the moderator for the speaker, who is none other than Mr. Alan Tong from Sabah. Our chairman tonight, Dr. Tan, will introduce him to you in a little while. Dr. Tan is a founding president of Family First Malaysia. You are muted for the time being, and you are advised to stay back after 9 or 9:30 for fellowship. Our speaker tonight will be touching on a financial topic, which I believe most of us will find it interesting and beneficial in today's financial situation. He will take about an hour to share what he knows best about the 7 subtle financial mistakes even the smart people do. I will take down some of your questions, which you can put in the chat box below, and I will direct them to the speaker after he shares. Thank you to Dr. Tan allowing me to be the moderator for this Zoominar, and I hope all of you will participate actively in tonight's Zoominar. All of you will be muted, and please turn on your camera, and hope you are probably tired, as we will be featuring the video on the social media. Without further ado, I would like to introduce some background of the Family First Malaysia. Family First Malaysia is a non-profit organization that emphasizes on the importance of the good and holistic family values. Our vision is to transform the next generation's fathers, supported by mothers, to build better families, resulting in a better workplace, a better society, and a stronger nation. And our mission is to partner with like-minded organizations to restore, reshape, and release men and women to become better couples and parents in the context of original marriage with 4F, which is family, finance, fitness, and favor. On the family side, we aim to double our love, joy, and peace in our family, to restore broken relationship, to reshape and the home environment and release next generation leaders using home as the starting point of leadership training. So we have 6 family tools in order to help us to achieve the objective. First, noble family vision, blessing of a happy marriage, role of a husband or fathers, role of a wife or mother, the foundation of the blessed children, and the foundation of the family order. In the area of finance, which is important to any family growth, we plan to increase our income or net profit ethically and righteously with value innovation to double our giving with all bad debts settled and achieving oneness with the money as a family, beginning with fathers and mothers to model better financial stewardship. So again, we have 4 principles or 4 finance tools. First is the principles of finance stewardship, then God purpose for money, then managing money as a couple, and financial freedom. So in the area of fitness, as you know, fitness is an important area, as without fitness, we may not be able to have a healthy lifestyle. So we need to strengthen our mental and physical health through the cultivation of a positive mental attitude, holistic exercise, and nutrition, resulting in the high energy and wisdom to achieve things of big and lasting impact. So we have 2 fitness tools to apply in our life. First is cultivating a positive personal habit. Second is growing old graciously. So in the area of favor, we can understand by practice this favor in the following manner. First, being faithful and adaptable, versatile, optimistic, understanding, and relationships. Right. So we are a non-profit organizations and our operation depends on the donation from any cheerful giver. Take a snapshot on the QR code. You may use the bank account number for your kind donation. Yeah. The bank details are given on the screen. Any amount will be appreciated. Yeah. So now get ready with your pen and paper to take some notes while you are listening to the speaker. And I'm handing over the platform to our chairman and founding president of Family First Malaysia to introduce the speaker. Dr. Tan, Teck-Seng, over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Thank you for moderating tonight's sessions, and of course, welcome to all our participants here. And many of them, I see that they are new faces here. So anyway, tonight's speaker is none other than my very good friend hail from Sabah, and he's indeed a very experienced money man, and he's a chartered accountant, of course, by profession, and also used to work as a partner in the Big Four accounting firm, right? So he was a partner there, and also he was a founding president and also the charter president of the Rotary Club in Kota Kinabalu. And he was also the president of the Habitat for Humanity Kota Kinabalu. And of course, because he's also one of our board members, Family First Malaysia board member, and also he's one of the board of trustees of the Sri Bengkase in Kota Kinabalu. Now, Alan, he coaches in financial IQ and also financial literacy. And he's a very strong advocate in creating, especially income, passive income, and also learning to invest early in life so that you will be able to retire very happily. So he's now indeed retiring very happily with his three adult children and also, of course, the lovely wife, whom he has married for, I think, almost now coming to 50 years now, and also six grandchildren, right? So let us sit back and also try to actually catch some nuggets of this, the gems from our learning from our this Alan Tong tonight. Okay, over to you, Alan.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Dr. Tan Teck Seng. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to you and Family First, as well as your charming wife, Pinky, for letting me share in the Zoomina tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about a topic that's very dear to my heart. And please note that this is not financial advice. I'm merely sharing some of the mistakes I have made, some of the mistakes that I have observed and my friends have made. And I'd like to thank Family First for this opportunity to come and share. I will be talking for about probably just short of an hour. I actually would like to keep this sweet and simple. Money is something which everybody knows how to handle. So we are unable to know and tell you what to do with your money because we don't know how much money you have and how emotional you are about with your income and expenses. Because money is actually a tool. Why is it a tool? It is a tool that can be used for negotiation, a tool that can even be used for pressure, and certainly a tool that can be used for blessing. It depends how you want to use it. As for using money based on our past emotion, it can be emotions that are so deeply buried based on trauma, based on mistakes, based on things that are hidden that may still affect our thinking and our psyche nowadays. You may experience it yourself and even among your friends, business partners, or even family members. That sometimes certain trigger will just make them angry, irritated, or annoyed. It could be something that is so deep that they don't even realize that that mistake that they have made is affecting their decision making in today's life and preventing them from getting breakthrough. So I'd like to welcome everybody to our talk, and I hope that you will be able to note down some of the money mistakes that you have experienced. I've actually noted down in my preparation more than 30 money mistakes. Tonight, I will share how some of these mistakes come about to affect us. What are the reasons? Why are we like that? Oftentimes we hear that people want to be a millionaire. Let me give you an illustration. When they don't have a written goal, will they have a high chance of achieving that particular goal? I would say in order for you to increase and improve your chances of reaching your financial goal, the important thing is to write it down. And not only that, to review it regularly. Let me illustrate to you. If you want to plan a trip, say from where I am now in Kota Kinabalu to Kuala Lumpur, what must I do? I need to take action. I need to look at the flights, the date of my flights, the booking, and I need to find my way to the Kota Kinabalu airport and then fly to Kuala Lumpur. What does that mean? What am I trying to tell you? I am saying that everything has steps, and these steps are actually simple and straightforward and can be taken. So I book my ticket, I go to the airport, I go into the plane, and I fly from Kota Kinabalu to Kuala Lumpur. So what's that got to do with money mistakes? The money mistakes that we make is when we want to achieve a certain target, say to achieve the status of becoming a millionaire. And then we don't do anything about it. We don't take any steps. We totally just don't write it down, don't write down the plan, don't know how we're going to go about it. We just sit back and one day, suddenly we become a millionaire. Just like I illustrated, if I want to travel from KK to KL, I must take those steps in order for me to reach my destination. Now, who is actually burning your money? Is it you? Can you trust yourself with money? What about if you're married, your spouse? What about your family members? If you are not experienced or trained in money management, how do you expect to manage your money without so much trauma, without so much emotions? Because it's these emotions that affect our money decisions, and definitely it will affect our money mistakes. So, brothers and sisters, let me ask you once again, why do people make money mistakes? I repeat that I have made money mistakes, some of which I even have repeated those mistakes. However, I am more conscious now for two things. One is the lesson learned from the mistakes that I've made. Number two, to share those mistakes with my family members as well as with my friends. I know of a situation where a very good friend made serious money mistakes and he did not share with his family members. He himself repeated those mistakes and lost a lot of money. He didn't share because he didn't want to lose face. Unfortunately, a friend of his, 2 years down the road, made the same mistake and lost a lot of money. If only he had shared with his circle of friends, he could have helped people to avoid it. We don't even want to know the impact of how all these things will affect our relationship, our family, and how things will break up in the family. I want to ask you, do we go around and ask ourselves who we actually are? The question is this: if we are poor, people will leave us alone. If we behave rich, people will come knocking at our door. Don't you think so? So do you want quiet and peace, or do you want noise? All right? Can you hear me? What happened to the screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, Alan Tong.
Thank
Yes,
you
yes.
very much. I have noted down more than 30 money mistakes, but tonight I'm sharing 7 situations that actually cause us to make money mistakes. It may not be so subtle, actually. Some of them are actually very significant, and I will also share with you what I think are 3 strategic shifts to prevent these money mistakes from recurring. I would like to ask you this question as we start. Why are you here? Please type in the chat box below. A, I want to stop making more mistakes. B, I want to learn from OPM, that is other people's mistakes. C, why past mistakes are blocking my breakthrough. You can type it in as you desire. And is there a technical error because I cannot see my sharing screen at this moment? All right, I can see it again now. So participants, please type A, you want to stop making more mistakes, and you want to learn from other people's mistakes. There's no need for you to make all the mistakes because it is too costly. Or why past mistakes are still blocking you. It could be so buried and so traumatic, so even invisible that you are not even aware of it. So the very first thing I like to share is because all of us with money, there is something called pride. Pride is one of the issues which make us very conceited and feel self-important. Something that will happen to us when we are conceited or self-important and make us look foolish. When people are so prideful, they will start overestimating their abilities. They will be overconfident and oftentimes frivolous and also careless. They will be irrational and rash in their money decision making, and oftentimes impatient, stubborn, and hot-headed. Hot-headedness is one of the things that can happen in a company, especially from the boss. And it can also happen in a family situation. Particularly, this is the father, when he is sometimes controlling, unable to control his temper. He's a poor listener, and he just want to talk. I'm sure you have met people who just want to talk and talk, and they become blind to their vulnerabilities. They become too smart for their own good to the extent of being arrogant. Proverbs 26:12 says, "Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him." When a person is so prideful and doesn't want to listen to feedback and consider other people's opinion, it will lead to financial catastrophe. I know of 3 personal cases, upfront and near, where the businessmen, due to their pride, arrogance, and overconfidence, they have lost everything. And in fact, 2 of them have even lost their lives and destroyed their family. That is actually very, very sad. The next thing which I want to say that will affect our money mistakes is greed. Greed is excessive and selfish desire for more. We do not know how much is enough. There will be temptation of quick profits. So the person will go into high-risk speculative ventures, and they can even become unethical and unrighteous to the extent of being manipulative. And because of this, it will impact their decision making. They lose clarity. They lack careful evaluation and let their guard down. They think that being the first mover will give them the advantage. They ignore all the caution, all the red flags. They go into speculative investments. And what is the result? Huge financial losses. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, "The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Proverbs 15:27 says, "He who is greedy for gain troubles his own house." Now, is greed bad? Have you ever been greedy? Let me tell you, all decisions on money are actually based on 4 things. 1, pain. 2, pleasure. 3, fear. 4, greed. Pain, pleasure, fear, and greed. Now, let me give you an example. If you want to buy a car, is it based on pain, pleasure, fear, or greed? I can say there is an element of each one of those in your decision making. Obviously, buying a nice car will give you pleasure. But where is the pain? The pain is, of course, having to pay and be financially committed. Where's the fear? The fear can be very subtle. The fear of not having that vehicle during that offer. And what about greed? Well, you could do with a smaller car, but you want something which is better and you're willing to pay and commit yourself to this particular vehicle. What about food? What about going to the restaurant? Is there pain, pleasure, fear, and greed just going out to eat? Certainly, all money decisions are based on this. It's a matter of degree. We can be greedy, but not to the extent of being excessive and selfish, not to the extent of being speculative, unethical, or unrighteous. So be mindful. It is okay to be greedy, to be used in a more positive mindset. We want something long-term, so we can look at the investment. For example, when the price of a certain stock has come down so much, we can look at it and invest with a long-term perspective for a better return. The third thing which I want to mention that affects our money making mistakes is lust. Lust will cause us to be impulsive. we will have no self-control, oftentimes selfish and possessive. We seek to fulfill fleshy desires. Lust is mainly uncontrolled sexual craving. Uncontrolled, cannot be controlled. Lack of discipline, no respect or dignity. Can you trust yourself? Oftentimes we want it and we want it now. Our spending is driven by wants, not needs, and this will derail our long-term goals. Our behavior can be spoiling our own children, and for those of us who have grandchildren, spoiling our grandchildren as well. Not in the terms of lust, but in the terms of delayed gratification. We don't want to spoil them and bring them up with an entitled mindset. Have you ever made money mistakes on this lust? So far, I've covered pride, greed, lust. What are some of the mistakes that you may have made, experienced, didn't learn from it, didn't share with others, repeated the mistakes, and made more money mistakes? No matter how smart we are, it doesn't matter. You can have the best A's in your academic qualification, the highest degree. Professionals, experienced businessmen, they make mistakes. Some of this comes from childhood trauma. It's so invisible that they are not aware of it. It just surfaces unknown to them and just trigger an impulsiveness. The next one that I want to mention is envy. Do not be envious of evil men, nor desire to be with them. This is Proverbs 24:1. There is always a danger of financial comparison. People are dissatisfied with their unhealthy financial situation and start comparing with others. They are discontented and therefore, for no reason whatsoever, they are envious and they resent the financial situation of others. They are self-seeking, oftentimes creating confusion or even evil intention. They desire other people's possession. They are not prioritizing personal finances. In fact, the envy rots their bones and causes disorder, anger, and jealousy. Mind you, when it is said that envy rots our bones, that in itself is something that we have to be extremely mindful and cautious about. Imagine your bones, your health, your situation. Envy is a sin. When we just have green eyes and cannot accept what other people possess, we just want to have it, and we are just resentful for no reason whatsoever, dissatisfied with what others have. This will definitely affect our health, our mental well-being, and even our own family harmony. Bear in mind that money is a very mental game. It is a game. In a game, there are rules. In a game, there are disciplines. In a game, there are guidelines. In a game, you play to win. Just like in sports, you go and play a game of badminton. When you're representing your nation, you play to win. In the game of money, you play to win. Why does anyone want to play the game of money to lose? You have the right formula. You have the right direction. You have your written goals. Focus on it. People get distracted very easily. I call that the big D, distraction. And they get tempted very easily. They are envious. They want what other people have. They are jealous. So this will affect our health, our well-being, and even cause us to have a shorter life. I want to say that up to this stage, I don't know how many money mistakes you have made or how many that have been submerged in your subconscious, in your psyche, that you have even forgotten. At the end of the talk, I will give you 7 questions as homework for you to go and honestly ask yourself, where are those issues, if you can find them. The next one is gluttony. This is a big one. This involves excessive indulgence in food and drinks. What are the consequences of overindulgence and overconsumption? If you eat too much, definitely it will cause you to be lazy. It will cause you to spend more money and leads to poverty. So food becomes your God, and your tummy also becomes your God. This will definitely increase financial stress. People take 3 meals a day, just enough. My son, when he eats, he will only eat 1 portion. When my wife and I, with my adult son, goes out for a meal in a restaurant, we order our individual meal. And oftentimes, I don't want to eat that much. I want to give to my son a portion of my food. He says, no, thank you, Dad. I will just eat my portion. He is very health conscious and he doesn't want to eat more than his share. I used to have a lot of what I call gathering to meet friends, to go for coffee and tea, and even late night supper. I have stopped all these things. As a matter of fact, I have adopted a practice by having my dinner by 6 p.m. every night, and thereafter, I do not put anything else into my mouth other than water. I do not even drink any beverage at all. I've made this a practice for the past few years, and I feel so much better, and I feel so much more energized. When we fail to exercise self-control and discipline, we will become unproductive. Our lifestyle will become unhealthy. And this will definitely affect and threaten our financial stability, because eating beyond, eating excessively is an indulgence, and it is certainly very, very wasteful. Philippians 3:19 says, their end is destruction, their God is their belly, and their glory is in their shame. Their minds are set on earthly things. Bear that in mind, gluttony is one of the very big areas that not only affects our financial well-being, it certainly affects our health. And health can burn a big hole. Medical expenses can burn a big hole in our pockets. Bear that in mind. Please note, The next one is wrath, making money decisions in anger or frustration. Have you ever experienced making unnecessary money decisions in anger or when you are very frustrated? Once, a very good friend, a very senior lawyer in Kota Kinabalu, shared this wisdom with me. He said, Alan, when you are upset or you are emotionally uncertain, don't make any major decision. He mentioned this to me, and I have embraced that particular wisdom, and I continue to share that with friends and also family. Anger and frustration will certainly lead to impulsive financial decisions, and we don't have careful thoughts about it. We will have hatred, resentment, and desire for revenge. Impulsive selling, sometimes it works the other way around. Rash selling during emotional highs or lows can cause significant financial loss. Maybe you're angry, you just simply sell your car or whatever valuable, it could be jewelry, just because you're angry with someone in the family or even with your spouse. So reckless spending is causing us emotional distress, and this can trigger us to reckless spending and impact our long-term financial health. All right, this one is on sloth. Sloth is procrastination and financial neglect. We avoid doing any budgeting. We neglect to create or follow any written down goals. We have poor financial planning. And as a result of this, since we don't have clarity, we don't put pen to paper, we oftentimes miss great financial opportunities. Money mistake is not just money mistakes of omission. It is also money mistakes of omission. That means we make mistakes or an action, something that we should have done with our money, but we did not do it. So that is a mistake of omission. Both mistakes of omission and mistakes of omission are money mistakes. Has anyone made money mistakes and because of that made a lot of money? Yes, that can happen. But will it happen all the time? Was that just pure coincidence, just a pure luck, pure situation that you happen to maybe put some money into a stock without even knowing, just listening to some stories, to some advice, or to some rumors, and you made some substantial money. But if you have that kind of mindset in the stock market without doing your own research, the next time you hear a recommendation or a rumor or a story, you will lose it all back because you are under the impression that it is so simple. I made so much money just by listening to that friend of mine. Have you ever experienced this? When people ignore investments or delay or avoid investment, this can also result in lost potential growth and financial security. Every one of us wants to have financial security. What exactly is financial security? Do we feel secure when we have a lot of money? Do we feel insecure when we don't have that much money? What about rich people? I know some very wealthy people who have a lot of money who feel insecure. As a matter of fact, they feel very lonely. People want to knock at their door and create a lot of noise. But are these real friends? Are they able to distinguish between real friends and fake friends? What are the red flags? Especially when a person is elderly, they can be open to abuse, even by their own family members. When we delay saving and we postpone saving, then we are not looking at our future financial stability. And because of that, it increases our vulnerability to emergencies. Life is such that when emergency strikes, we are often told to have emergency funds. Therefore, we need to lay aside a certain amount. What is that amount? It depends on individual circumstances. It also depends on the health affliction that affects each and every one of us. There's no escape. We're all vulnerable. When we have no written long-term goals, we are at a disadvantage. Every one of us must make an effort to have written long-term goals. I know friends who have written down their long-term goals. But when I asked them when was the last time they reviewed it, it was 5 years ago. You need to review your long-term goals at least twice a year. Things are moving so fast. The economy, the situation, everything, especially on a global basis, is so dynamic, it's moving so fast that we have to keep up. Everything is moving at that kind of speed. If you look at what is happening now, especially in artificial intelligence, what you know today, it changes tomorrow. It changes every day, every moment. So in terms of your written goals, I would encourage everyone to not only write it down, but to review it and update the goals. And what about your will? Have you written your will and have you reviewed it and updated it? You need to do that. Situation change is very dynamic. What about people who have properties or assets in an overseas country? You need to have a separate will made in that country in order for your beneficiaries to attend to your assets there. You cannot use a Malaysian will for your overseas assets. Bear that in mind. So I have mentioned to you the 7 areas of how the money mistakes are made, and many of it are actually comes from emotion. Our emotion affects our money decision. Rightly or wrongly, deeply buried inside, invisible, we do not know when they will trigger and when they will be on fire. I will share with you now what I think are the 3 strategic shifts for financial transformation. This is something which may be different for everybody. Money can be a very interesting topic, especially when you have lots of it and you have invested wisely and your money is growing to your satisfaction. When money is not invested wisely or they are lost, then you will have a very negative emotion and you will start viewing some of these things that I'm sharing in a negative emotional mindset. Of course, you would, because it has touched a particular raw nerve. So money can be also very boring if you have to sit down and start planning, writing down, preparing, planning. Some people who says, I'm too busy. They actually spend more time planning their holiday than looking at their long-term financial goals. That is actually something which you know it should be the opposite. You should spend more time on your financial planning, on your money goals. Not that money is that important that you have to give so much to it, but when you look at it, you do your best. God will do the rest. Therefore, you need to develop the skills, the abilities, the understanding to take certain steps so that you are strategic and you need to shift. What the shift means? Shift just like when you're driving a car, you shift from gear 1 to gear 2, gear 3. It depends on the speed, where you are going up a hill, turning a corner. Therefore, your money journey can be fast, slow, uphill, downhill, sideways, left, right, forward, backward. It all depends how you shift these strategies. But you need to have these strategies. Without understanding these strategies, you will not know what to do when something hits you. And then you are blind, you're blindsided. Then you look at each other. You're wondering, you start scratching your head and wonder what hit you. Why weren't you prepared? Get this thing done. The very first thing, which I call the strategic shift number 1, is to save 100,000 and compound it under the rule of 72. What does saving 100,000 mean for a young working adult? If this young working adult is earning, for example, 5,000 ringgit, and if he is still staying with the parents and doesn't need to pay rent, he will be earning 60,000 a year, and to save 100,000 will take him less than 2 years. But in reality, we know that things doesn't happen that way. He will have other expenses. Therefore, how long will it take you to save 100,000 ringgit? It varies. If you are a working executive and you're earning reasonably and you have no commitment on a car or on a house or even on a marriage or even have to pay expenses for your aged parents, it would be slightly more advantageous, slightly easier for you to save 100,000 ringgit. It will take you a shorter time span. What this means is, do not put your money into a car. Do not put your money into an apartment or a house. Yet, the first thing is to save this 100,000 first. While you are saving this 100,000, a few good things will be happening in your psyche. One, you will become very conscious and careful about your unnecessary expenses. Two, you will have a great deal of discipline on your earnings and even investing. As you go along, saving proportion of these earnings, over the months, you will start improving your financial investment knowledge, and you will start asking people or even attending courses or seminars so that you can make your money earn interest or earn returns, and the returns will earn returns. Therefore, this will help you reach your goal of 100,000 faster. Let's say it takes you 10 years to save 100,000. After that, when you have this 100,000, the next 100,000 may take you a shorter time. It may take you only 7 years. Then you have 200,000. So in 17 years, imagine you have 200,000 cash. You may not have a flamboyant car or even an apartment. It is okay. Bear with it. But this is something which I think is necessary for a person to be conscious of the earnings, the spending habits, the investment knowledge, and making your money work for you, making your money grow over this period, and use the rule of 72 to double your money. So start this strategic shift number 1 as soon as you can. Some people have asked me, can I start saving 100,000 for my child when he's born, or for my grandchild? The answer is absolutely yes. After certain years, because if you have the ability, you have the income, you have the financial means, you certainly can save or even put aside 100,000 for your loved ones who's still a child. However, there are certain disadvantages. What are these disadvantages? They are, your child will grow up not developing that particular discipline, not knowing the need to put aside, not knowing about delayed gratification, not knowing about controlling spending habits, and not knowing the need for improving investment and financial knowledge. However, that can also be overcome, because as the child grows up, you as an adult can ensure and must ensure that that child will learn about this, so that the child will not become entitled, will not have an entitled mindset. I repeat, money can be compounded. Money must be compounded. So far, so good, everybody? All right, I will go to strategic shift number 3. Strategic shift number 2. Strategic shift number 2 is for you to master numbers, be comfortable with numbers, and it is highly recommended that you use the Excel spreadsheet, which is available in most laptops and computers. It is installed in your laptop and computers. If you do not know how to use the Excel spreadsheet, it is not too late to learn it. This financial literacy is very important for you to understand the concepts that will help you improve your budgeting and overall money management skills. We need to have these basic skills. It is foundational. Use the Excel for budgeting, list down your income, list down your expenses, organize them well, compare month to month or even week to week, review them, make a forecast, look at your assets, your liabilities. If you have income from rental, list it all down. These Excel tools will assist you tremendously, and they are already available on your laptop, on your computer. Are you using it? I use it regularly, and I am very comfortable and confident with my numbers. And certainly, I'm teaching the younger members in my family and encouraging them to not only use the Excel spreadsheet, but to master it. Once you master it, you will find shifting around the numbers and using it to be actually very creative and very interesting. The third strategic shift is to surround yourself with mentors. What does this mean? When you have accountability support, the wise mentors will help you when you want to ask them a particular situation, and because you meet them every now and then, they will be able to understand you. They will be able to talk to you. During this time when you meet your mentors and your coaches, ask and articulate your questions in such a way that it is clear, and when they enumerate to you what they think, you need to be a very good listener. Bring along a notebook and write down what they say. From this fresh perspective, you will experience the coaches that offers their viewpoints that will help you overcome your challenges and help you make better money decisions. Encourage and motivation for mentors to provide you regularly, and that will certainly boost your confidence in your financial journey. So the three things, number one in your strategic shift is, can anyone remember? Right? That is for you to all right. So you need to know all these three strategic shifts for you to implement, for you to be able to overcome money mistakes. Okay, I have reached the conclusion of my sharing, and I would like to say that you need to recognize your financial mistakes, list them down, and ensure that these mistakes are not holding you back. That is number one. After this presentation, you need to take action. If you don't take action, nothing will happen. Nothing will change. When you are here, you want to know what are your money mistakes. You want to know how you can learn from OPM, other people's mistakes. You want to know what are the money mistakes that are holding you back from big breakthrough. Start with small steps. You need to take action. Like I illustrated, if I want to fly from Kota Kinabalu to Kuala Lumpur, I need to check the flights. I need to go to the airport. I need to buy my ticket, and I need to fly in order for me to reach my destination. If you want to reach your financial goal and avoid making repeated money mistakes, get an accountability partner. Take small actions together. Meet regularly. You can even meet them on Zoom, meet them on the phone, and you can help each other, right? As you go along in your financial journey and in your money journey, you can keep measuring and keep reviewing. I mentioned the money goals, financial goals, and even your will, that when we have written this and it is kept there for the past several years without updating and review, then we do not know that when the time comes, whether those things are still applicable or valid. So be focused, be directional and intentional, and be very careful of the big D. Be not distracted. Don't be distracted. I mentioned that I will give you a simple homework, and this is up to you. I will flash the next screen, and there are 7 questions here. You can take a snapshot of these 7 questions and feel free to spend time with integrity, openness, search your hearts and answer them as comprehensively as you can. Dig into it. Don't come for this talk just because you are curious. Don't come for this talk just because you have maybe nothing better to do. Don't come for this talk because you don't know why. What's the main reason you're coming for this sharing? This is not financial advice. It is a journey where all of us can help each other. Here are the 7 vital questions. 1. Which money mistake from your own life felt the most painful, and what did it teach you about stewardship? This will require a great deal for you to deep dive into this, for you to answer as comprehensively as you can. Question 2, have you ever made a financial decision based on fear, greed, or distraction? What was the outcome? 3, what's one humorous or ironic moment where your intelligence backfired in a money decision? 4, how do you personally define stewardship in the context of money, legacy, and relationship? Where legacy is concerned, many people say they want to leave a legacy. The thing that I would like to say is to build a legacy. If we leave a legacy and if it is a broken legacy, what's the point of just leaving a legacy when we don't build a legacy that is worthwhile leaving behind for our beneficiaries? Number 5, what is a common financial behavior you see in others that make you want to gently shake them away? This is a tough one. You need to get their permission to point out to them. 6, have you ever been manipulated or misled in a financial deal, and how did you recover or respond? 7, what's your relationship with cash reserves? Do you feel peace, fear, or guilt when holding too much or too little? Oftentimes, people have too much money and they just put it into fixed deposit, which is actually eaten away by inflation. They feel safe putting it in fixed deposit. What about you? So this homework is for you to answer. If you have taken the screenshot, so thank you very much for your participation. Over back to you, Brother Matthew.
Thank you, Mr. Alan Tong, for your insightful talk regarding about financial traps that we need to avoid in our life. So I open this time for questions and answers. I see some question is listed in the chat box. Maybe I can just share one of them. Mr. Alan Tong, a participant asked, can you please show a sample of the Excel financial planning if you have it in your laptop now?
I did not prepare that for illustration today, Matthew.
Yeah.
If that participant would like to communicate with me directly,
Yeah.
my number is 019-852-1134. I'll be happy to share.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alan Tong. And the participant, please write to Mr. Alan Tong directly. So, or otherwise may contact any of the Family First Malaysia staff. Okay. Anyone would like to ask any question? If you would like to, please put it in the chat box. Maybe I could just ask one question, Brother Alan Tong. I know that surrounding ourselves with financial mentors is a very important step in order to protect us from losing money, or even better still, to gain more money, so that our financial health will be maintained. So I would like to ask this question is, it's not an easy process to get along with many, even one or two financial mentors. Would you advise us, how are we able to get along with these financial advisor or mentors so that we can grow in our financial knowledge in either in investment or in many forms of financial achievement?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Moderator Matthew. That is a very, very good question. For getting mentors to help us as a feedback, mentors are a very vital and important sounding board. When we establish some kind of regular communication, relationship, and when we meet them, the first thing is to articulate what we have in mind. It could be a business idea, it could be an investment opportunity. The main thing is to articulate that clearly to the person you're speaking to. And when that person speaks and shares, we need to be a very good listener and write down the notes. Therefore, a mentor can actually be one-off. It need not be long-term. For example, I can use my wife as a sounding board. Over the years of our marriage, she understands me. I humble myself and tell her, I have this investment, I have this business opportunity, and this is my business plan, I articulate it to her. We say it in such a way, even our grandmother can understand. So clarity is important. After I illustrate it even to my wife or even to my adult children, oftentimes I go out for meals with my adult children and we have family discussion. And I raise the issue and listen to their feedback. And when they are talking, I make sure that my ears are listening to all the reasons and the reasons behind the reasons. Sometimes it's not just in front, it's behind. If we give them the opportunity to shoot us down, to tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we are thinking, give them the permission. Let them say, don't be hot-headed, don't be arrogant. Therefore, a mentor can also be your banker. Many of us have bank accounts, or our lawyer. Get your lawyer to go out for a lunch. Buy them lunch. Get your banker to go out with you for a lunch or coffee. Buy them lunch and ask them during that period. Make sure that that particular session that you are with that person is dedicated to that topic that you have in mind. Don't go out with that person and start talking about social things and you bring 2 or 3 other friends along and you get distracted and the whole thing dissipate and you're not sure what actually are the noises because the world is already so noisy. My encouragement is to be focused, dedicated. It is only an hour session. Focus on that. Yes, we can get together for a group meal and all that. That's for social, that's for fellowship, and so on. So for a mentor, yes, there are certain businessmen, there are certain senior people in your community who may be accessible to you through a recommendation. And if you don't know that person, you can try to find out who knows that person. Maybe in the community, there are certain people you know, and you know that person knows the other person whom you want to meet. So you can ask your friend or your uncle or your auntie to make that appointment for you. Be humble, be upfront, and have the integrity to just share. That's what I really think. I wish I had applied all these things in my earlier days, because in my earlier days, I wasn't a very good listener. I listened very well to myself, not to other people. I thought I knew everything.
Thank you, Brother Alan Tong. In this era of money market, very often we meet up with scams. So we thought he could be the advisor to us in how we're going to spend our money in investment. But unintentionally, we somehow believe we believe them, and somehow we are misled into putting our money into an investment which is never in existence. So we have learned enough from past cases, even in our own life. So how do you want to advise some of the participants here? Maybe they want to hear from you. How are we going to avoid them completely before even we meet them?
This is again a very interesting question, Matthew.
Yeah.
I think we are all susceptible and exposed to scammers. So we need to take not one step, we need to have security, we need to have triple security to guard ourselves. But if you say meeting up with someone, then you better be careful who this someone is on a proposal of whatever grand scheme that person may have. Oftentimes, this is driven by our own impatience and perhaps even greed. Definitely greed, definitely impatience. Definitely we think in our mind that when we see this proposal, we can have the first mover advantage. Therefore, we go in. When we go in and we are so convinced, we start calling all our friends to go in. It is one type of scam. We know that there is a proliferation of scams that are going on. This is a very, very big area, lots of red flags. Therefore, I am adopting, and I believe you could do the same, that any proposal that I receive, I will take a minimum of 6 months to evaluate. And during the evaluation, I'll talk to multiple experienced people. I will do a lot of my own research. So that is what I would do, and I recommend highly that you do that. When you get a lot of these proposals on your WhatsApp message for this and that, what is free, what is offered, what are gifts, etc., please do not click on those links because those are very highly suspicious and those are the phishing. They're phishing you to get your information. Once you go in, habis. A friend of mine in Singapore was sharing that he was very saddened that he met one of his uncle, a 70-year-old uncle who lost his entire life saving to scammers. Can you imagine 70 years old losing your entire life saving? You cannot even earn it back. You go to your children, they do not even want to talk to you. You've lost it. And imagine the kind of mental trauma and stress. So be extremely careful. Don't simply click. Don't simply listen to stories. Don't go for all these seminars and proposals where they promise you to on quick get rich quick schemes. Yes, the first few may get rich, but you will end up carrying the baby. Sadly.
Yep. Thank you, Alan, Brother Alan. Now there is one participant asking this question. Is it safe to invest in living trust?
Is it safe? Is it safe to invest in living trust? Highly, I think highly recommended. Although I have not got a living trust for myself, I have been considering it. I'm not that rich, I'm not that super rich to have a living trust. I believe that any of these things in our planning, there must be some kind of a threshold where we can take action. But now that the participant has raised this question, I would like to thank the participant because I believe it is reminding me. Sometimes we think about wanting to do something and we keep procrastinating, keep delaying, keep deferring until we are free. And once we are like this becomes a pattern. This becomes something that we just continue to do. Like this, we are like that. Sometimes your spouse may ask you to do certain things. We just defer, later, this and that. This is a very unhealthy pattern. Thank you to the participant for raising this thing about living trust. I will certainly go into it immediately after this session. Thank you so much.
Well, that's great, Alan Tong. Okay, now there is another question dealing with certain percentage of their expenses, of their saving go into their expenses. Uh, this person suggests 50%, and then the other 50% spend something else. What is your advice on the ratio where we should spend our saving on certain item or our expenses so that we could end up saving money? Do you have a general guideline so that we can learn how much percentage out of our saving or out of our income goes to certain expenses?
This again is a very good question, Matthew. Percentage is something which we got to be mindful of. If you are a person who is earning minimum wage, which is 1,700 ringgit, if you say to save 30%, that person cannot even save 10%, because after deduction of EPF and SOCSO, there isn't much left for daily needs. So it is not so much a percentage. If you are earning 15,000 a month, then you say, I can live within 5,000, therefore I can save 10,000. I'm just putting aside EPF and other things, just taking the gross earnings. There are people who are earning 15,000 a month or even 10,000. So if your expenses and your lifestyle, you can contain it at even 3,000 a month if you're still living with your parents, don't have to pay rent, don't have to pay for groceries, don't have to pay for many things, you can save a substantial part of it. Work that up to 100,000. So to answer this is not so much a percentage, but actually the amount. If you do not have substantial income, today there is a gig economy, which means that you can earn extra income through other means. People have been doing this for many years. For example, those days I give tuition and I earn extra income. And there are people now, of course, they are doing Grab delivery or even Grab driver, and they're earning extra. Question is, what are you doing with those extra? Because you will never be wealthy if you are just putting your money in savings. You need to invest the monies that you earn. It must be invested. Only then will you become wealthy and your money will grow insanely and astronomically. This, I tell you, you have to learn to make your money work hard for you, not just let it sit in the bank.
Well, good point. Thank you, Mr. Alan Tong. And now come to investment. Which investment would you generally advise us? Either in property, if we have money, assuming that we have certain amount of money, property, or compare with stock market?
That again is a very, very good question. You're asking a lot of good questions, Brother Matthew.
Thank you.
All right. I would actually favor stock and shares. The reason I say stock and shares is because it is very liquid. What does liquid means?
Yeah.
You can put in 1,000 ringgit or $1,000 if you're investing in the US market, you put in 1,000 US into one. There are 11 sectors in the New York Stock Exchange. Which sector do you like? You cannot invest in every sector. You do not know the real estate. You do not know the banking market in America. You do not know the health market. You do not know the retail market. You do not know the leisure, which is the airlines market. Yes, you will know when you are actually in that particular industry, and of course, you have a lot of interest in that particular sector. I like to look at established companies, what I call the Magnificent Seven. And these are all tech companies, the Magnificent Seven. In short, they call it Mag 7. It's an old movie, you know, Yul Brynner, those days. Some of you may have seen the movie, The Magnificent Seven. Now they have made the acronym of this Magnificent Seven. And these stocks are very good because they are very established. They are global. They are very well run. They are high tech. And all of them are in AI. They have huge amount of cash in their bank account. Very, very solid. One example would be, I'm just saying, I'm not recommending, would be Microsoft. Almost everybody I know uses Microsoft. Do you? Do you use Microsoft?
Yes.
Right. Then you say, what about Apple? Apple is also very, very good. What about Tesla? These are all very good. What about NVIDIA? Yes. What about Amazon? Right? What about Google? So all these names that I mentioned are in the Magnificent Seven. But how much money do you plan to put into the stock market? It is very, very different because in US, we are talking about US dollar. For me, I would only choose one, maybe two for long term. And this will grow. I have shared in one of the talks here before, if only I had invested in Apple from the very day, of course, this is looking at hindsight, if I had invested 60,000 ringgit into Apple on that day when Apple was listed, instead of buying my property, that 60,000 ringgit today would be worth 350 million ringgit. That is significant. That is significant. 60,000 ringgit which I used to buy my house. Eventually, I sold my house for just over 100,000. That would have compounded to 350 million ringgit today. Where to find this kind of investment? Right, brother? So
Yeah.
between that answers between stock and property. But of course, we cannot do without properties. We must have a roof over our head, and property is also very good. When we buy properties, we can rent it out and get passive income. We can see the appreciation as well. So we cannot say one is good, better than the other. Both these properties, that is real estate and stock market, are good, as well as the third one, which is of course opening and running a successful business. These are the three areas where we can make our money work for us.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Alan Tong. And I think I can leave one last question. If not, then I will pass this time to our chairman, Dr. Tan. Anyone, please. All right, there's none. Dr. Tan, over to you.
Yeah, okay, very good. And thank you, Matthew. And indeed, that tonight it's very enlightening to really, hear our this brother Alan, sharing with us all this financial nugget, and helping us not to make mistakes, especially when we do some financial investments. Of course, for those of us who are already in the retirement age, we can't make a lot more mistakes. We can't even make a single mistakes because whatever mistakes that we make, we may not have enough of energy to go and make the money back again. So I think that whatever that we do, we have to be very prudent. So unfortunately, because a lot of elderly people nowadays that when they see that the money that they save for their retirement is insufficient, for them to take care or, for them to sustain their life for many, many years to come. So in order to make a little bit more money, so there's a tendency for them to actually invest into some high risk kind of venture. Now, as a result of which that several of them have been actually scammed and they lost everything. Now, these are some very sad case. I think that our talk, we also have, discussed, we also share with the participants about, how not to get scams. And a lot of times that we also invite speakers to come and also share with our participants so that to help them how to manage their finance more effectively so that, they won't end up in the dire situations. So thank you, Alan, for your sharing. It is wonderful that tonight all of us really benefit, from your talk. Now, before we have a group picture, let me close this with a word of prayer. Okay? Father, we just want to thank you for tonight. Thank you for this wonderful talk given by our brother Alan in terms of the mistakes that most people have a tendency to make, even in making financial decisions. So we want to thank you that, Lord, that you have sent Alan tonight to us to be able, Lord, to also bless our participants and as they begin to also learn to have the handles and also to journey on with their financial decisions. Father, help them to recognize their financial mistakes and also at the same time that they, give them the determination to start to take action for whatever plan they have and also continue to just review and also measure their performance. So we want to thank you for this strategic, the steps that given by Brother Alan to us. So we also want to ask you to bless each and every one of our participants who are listening tonight. So you separate them with your love, separate them with your wisdom, and also give them good health and protect their going out and coming in. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.